host, Shantae Levette. And guys, on today, this has been a much requested video. I am finally reviewing the Giani Paint for Countertop system. It's been over a year since I painted my countertops, and I wanted to share with you guys how they've held up, any issues that I've had, and how I solved them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give a rating of this product, Southern Style. So let's get started. One of the first things that I want to share with you all is about standing water. And since I used the Bombay Black, I left a pot here on the counter with water underneath so I can show you what happens if you leave standing water on your counter. It leaves a water ring. It would do it with anything that has water underneath. It could be a cup, a bowl, pots. So you just want to be aware of this. They do tell you this in the brochure and the information online about making sure that you get up any standing water, but I just wanted to share this with you guys so that you can see what happens if you leave any standing water. But this countertop does not get a tremendous amount of use. I usually, if I'm unloading groceries or if I'm washing dishes, I will sit some things here. And what I noticed is any area that was raised that I didn't sand down good because of any type of friction, the finish has come off. And I have two spots on this side, and that's the other one. So that's that countertop. The bar top area actually has done very well. People, you know, we sit up here and we eat, and so far this finish has been good. It does get some friction. I haven't had any problems out of the bar top area. This countertop does not get a tremendous amount of use. It's usually when I'm putting up the dishes or if I'm making a smoothie, or I don't get a lot of use on this side, but I did notice that I had one nick right here, and I'm going to be repairing that. Now the area that I see that has some issues is right here in front of my sink. And I don't know if it's because the water might be dripping down and I'm constantly wiping here, or maybe I didn't get the clear coat on there as well, but I'm going to have to touch these areas up. Another issue that happened was, for some reason my sink got loose and it moved, and I tried to reposition it. It scraped the paint off. So I can't really blame that on the Giani System, but I'm going to have to touch all of this up. I did re-glue our sink down. Our house is older than 10 years, so I'm not sure why the sink got loose, but it ended up scraping right here. I had not had this problem right along the sink line until, you know, I moved in and tried to reposition it, but these areas did happen here. So on the other side of the kitchen, let's go to this smaller countertop. Same deal on this countertop. I mean, it gets a little use, not a lot. You know, I'm putting stuff up, and it's nothing to touch up on this side either. But now let me show you the countertop that's in question. This is my most used countertop. This is the one that gets all the abuse. This is where I'm cooking, taking things off the stove. Everything happens on this countertop, and you can tell by how it's looking. I put a cutting board here to help with when I remove stuff off of the stove, because this area right here ended up, somebody took a hot pot off, and it's kind of rough right here. So I guess it kind of cooked the paint. The other area, which is right here, now I don't know if you all have teenagers. I have a teenage son. He probably had his headphones on when I was telling him not to cut on these countertops. So he heard me, but he definitely was not listening. I have a cutting board here, and I also have a cutting board right here on this side. But I plan on doing something to cover this island up because it is a little beat up too. But my son decided that he would cut an apple or two or three or four over on the countertops, and I would think after the first cut he would have noticed, but he did not. Here's a cut here, here's a cut here, and they explicitly tell you do not cut on these countertops because they are painted. You cannot cut on these countertops. But I guess sometimes talking to a teenager is like blowing hot air on a hot day. Makes no sense. So guys, let's go ahead and let me show you how I'm going to fix the counter. So first things first, let's go ahead and remove everything off the countertops. Now you just want to go ahead and give your countertops a good thorough wipe down. Let's go ahead and dry it up really good. Make sure it's nice and dry. I have the roll-on primer, so I want to just shake it up. But I'm just going to use what came off the top. Take a little bit of the primer, and I'm just going to go over the little areas that have been affected. And you don't need a lot of the primer. And once I get done priming up all of the spots, I'm going to actually let this sit overnight and then come back in tomorrow and actually do the paint. And after it dries, then I'm going to re-roll the countertops. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So guys, it's the second day, and I'm going to apply the paint to cover the primer. So I'm using the black onyx and the pearl mica. These came in the kit. Shake them up good. I'm just going to use my paintbrush. I'm not going to sponge it back out because the areas are so small, but I am just going to tap out where I reapplied the primer. These spots show up pretty well. You know, the primer, you can definitely tell the difference between the primer because it's flat. Just kind of doing it kind of random. I'm going to let this dry for about 4 hours, and then I'm going to come back and I'm actually going to re-roll the entire counter back out just so that everything is nice and smooth and even. And before the paint completely dries, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the pearl mica, and then they can dry together. So guys, now that my paint has had a chance to dry, I'm now going to go back in and do the third step, which is the roll-on clear coat. But first you definitely want to shake the can up. And I'm just using a tray that I've lined. I'm taking my little roller, and I've already wrapped the tape around to get that fuzz off. I have a foam brush that I'm going to use back here to get into the cracks. I'm going to go ahead and do that part first. And guys, the same way that we started, the key is try not to back roll once you get it coated up. Okay guys, so that's it. I did my full rollout. I'm going to let this dry for actually 12 hours. And I'll give you guys all a glimpse when everything is done. So guys, here we are at day 3, and I wanted you all to see the first counter. This is the one that I would say is my second high traffic area that's right next to my sink. And I had a couple little spots here. This is where I also left the pot on the counter so you could see how the ring would show up. This is what I did. I ended up rolling out every counter. You can't just touch up a spot with the clear coat. You can touch up a mistake with the primer as well as the paint, but you have to literally re-roll your entire area out so that the finish will be smooth. I went back in and I re-rolled out the bar top as well, just so that it would be the same finish. This area along my sink where I was experiencing the chipping, I went ahead and of course I touched it up. I actually did 2 coats on this part. I started right here at this corner, and I let the first coat dry for 4 hours, and then I came back and I did another coat, and I actually stopped it about right here. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's where I stopped it. This countertop to the left of my sink, it only had 1 nick, but I decided to go ahead and roll this one out as well, just so that they all would be the same. Now this countertop that's to the left of my stove, I decided to go ahead, like I said, and roll a coat on all of them, but it still came out really good. It's still very smooth. I just didn't want to do one countertop and have it be very shiny and the rest didn't look the same. So guys, this is the countertop that's to the right of my stove that got the most abuse, and this is the countertop that got burned and that my son chopped on. I did roll this countertop out twice simply because this one gets so much abuse. I rolled out the first coat, I waited 4 hours, and then I came back and I rolled out the second coat, and then I let them all dry overnight. So let me show you up close my repair job. So as far as blending, I think I did pretty well to keep it blended into what I already did. It's very shiny again. I forgot how really pretty the shine is. Right here is still a little divot, but it's really hard to see. But the scar is gone. I mean, the cut is literally gone, but you know, it's hard to catch paint up sometimes, but it is covered. Now, This area over here where it actually got burned, I can still feel some of the roughness. I didn't want to sand it back down because it would have probably made it a bigger issue, so I just touched it up with the paint. I rolled it out twice, and definitely I'm going to put a hot plate or something to catch the pots coming off. So guys, now for my review. Pros of this product. It's inexpensive. One kit is only $80. Now I did order 2 kits. That's why I'm able to roll back over my countertops again, because I actually used a clear coat out of the second kit. But I know that you can buy an additional can of the clear coat for about $25 more. Pro, you do it yourself. You save money in the labor. Another pro is you don't have to go through the hassle of having your countertops ripped out under construction and your kitchen be a total mess. It is going to be out of order, because after 1 day you can go ahead and use your countertops. After 3 days you can go ahead and put your small appliances back onto your countertops. And after 14 days your countertops should be cured, and that means that the product is at its maximum hardness. Another pro is if you're not ready or you're unsure about what you want to change your countertops out to, this product will buy you a little time. Another pro, it will definitely transform your kitchen. And by painting the countertops, it definitely brought my kitchen to the level that I feel that it could be for minimal cost. Cons, your kitchen will be under construction for a few days, meaning that you have to allow enough time for the primer as well as the paint to dry before you can add your clear coat. And then once you add your clear coat, you also have to allow for enough drying time before you can officially use your counters, because if you do it too soon, you'll get a nick and you basically have to start over. The other con is, and they tell you this, that you cannot put anything hot coming off the stove on the countertops because the counters are painted. Another con, if you leave something wet, as I showed you before, you'll get those water rings. Now while they do disappear, you just have to make sure that you keep all standing water up off of your countertops. And the last con basically is the durability. Guys, you cannot cut on these countertops because they are painted. I know I've told my son, but of course, again, teenagers, they hear you, but are they listening? Your countertops are going to get abused. You're going to be using them. You just have to be mindful. All countertops to a certain degree can be damaged. From marble to even just laminates. If you cut on a laminate countertop that's not painted, you can make a scar in it. If you don't care for your granite as well as your marble, those products can also get damaged. Quartz is probably the hardest substance, but what comes along with quartz is the cost. I did order 2 of these kits, and I plan on using the second kit in our bathroom because I wanted to redo those countertops. But overall, guys, I mean, this product, for the cost, I'm still pleased with them. My rating, I'm going to give the countertops overall will be a B. So guys, I hope that this video helps you all in your decision about using this particular product. I'm actually going to wait 3 days before I put anything back on my countertops just to make sure they're nice and dry. If you like this video, just remember to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about any of the steps, please leave them down below. I will have the information about this product in the description box. And if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to be part of my YouTube family. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, well, you know how I feel about you. And until the next video,